Well, welcome back everyone to another Kitchen Table TCG market update video, the last one of the week. We're going to be talking about Welcome to Rathe. If you want to support the channel and you want an access to a collection tracker that utilizes all the data, head on over to patreon.com/KitchenTableTCG. A great collection tracker to help you understand the value of your whole collection, and it will help you make sure you complete your full sets, and it really does help to support the channel and content like this. I also love to highlight and shout out Mitch over at Midtown Merchant. Mitch has the best place for singles in the whole market, and you can use your promo code BeKind to save $5 off your order of $50 or more. And if you're a patron, you get a 10% off discount code every month. So that'll be emailed out or messaged out to all the patrons actually today because it's the first of the month. So and then as we move forward, let's take a look at the unlimited boxes of WTR. Right now, oops, what am I doing? Right now on unlimited boxes, we're seeing lots of product in the marketplace. And on unlimited boxes right now, you can pick them up on TCG Player for less than for 71. I think I was putting this at Map, but Map has gone away. So these prices are allowed now. And so $72 is about where we're at. You can use my affiliate link in my video. My description of my video, and buy boxes for $72 on TCG Player and help the channel. So that's great that players can get the cards for this cheap. Let's see if it's worth it to open a box. As we look forward to the Fable here, we're sitting around 370. I wanted to point something out. It's kind of crazy. All right, so 370 is where the Fable. Let me show you where that comes from. That comes from TCG Player, plenty being sold in the 350 range. Okay, now you could, if you want, based on this week's sold data, buy one for $350 on TCG Player, and then go on over here to eBay where the sold listings are at $450 to $460 and make yourself, so after fees, you probably net yourself like $50. It's like a free $50 as long as it sells on eBay. So lots of them selling. I mean, early in the week it was $350, but later in the week, like $450. I'm gonna call the price $350 for the tracker this week. But you know, interesting to see lots of them selling on, even like some people on Facebook have been putting them up for $450. So $450 is selling on eBay. But on TCG Player you can get it for $350. So we'll call it $370, kind of split the difference. But yeah, $370. All right, looking at the that's actually up from last week at the $350 mark. Looking at the legendaries then, you know, Scab Skin holding value. Let me pull this in so you guys can see it. Sorry. Scab Skin's holding value. Tectonic Plating is, you know, holding its value. Maskable Momentum going down just a little bit. Brave Forge Bracers going about the same. Now Spring Tunic, that's the opposite. It's really interesting. On Spring Tunic, sold listings on eBay are less, around 215, 208, 218, 200 than they are on TCG Player, which is at like 240, 250 mark. So really interesting to see that kind of go back and forth, the different marketplaces. Make sure you're shopping around for the best deals. I'll put it at 230 this week, kind of split the difference there too. But make sure you're shopping around TCG Player or eBay to find the best deals on the cards that you're looking for. Looking at the Majestic Rainbow foils then, 2% difference here, no huge shifts. A lot of the, you know, the cards have been being purchased over the last couple of weeks, but the rainbow foils have not been moving too much. The Majestics are the ones that the non-foils are the ones that are kind of really going up or down based on what the players are utilizing and needing currently. So no real change, average of $24.90. Nothing significant to chat about there. So as we look towards the non-foil Majestics then, we are up 12% this week. And I think what's happening is a lot of people are buying singles. I was talking to Mitch the other day. He said a lot of people are buying like complete play sets from Midtown Merchant. And I think that's pretty normal for what's happening right now. So it's driving this up 12% right now for the non-foil Majestics. Enlightened Strike is really hot right now. Same with Command and Conquer. It's just a card that everybody wants in their decks, especially Classic Constructed. People filling out play sets, you know, who had play sets from Blitz, so they had two, now they need a third. So Enlightened Strike up to 70. Let's see. No other huge movement shifters. Glint the Quicksilver up to 18. Steelblade Supremacy. Some of these warrior cards starting to go up. Toma Fandle actually losing value, but all in all, your average Majestic at $16, which is up 12% this week. Looking then at the super rares, the rainbow foils, we're down 7%. Again, the rainbow foil is just not super popular. Iron Song Determination is kind of all over the place. It's like one of the ones that, like, if you look at eBay, there's a few sold listings in like the $7-8 range, but then on TCG Player, there's a ton of sold listings at the $12 range. So it's kind of all over the place, both for the rainbow foil and non-foil. Your rainbow foil super rares are locking in at $3.07 on average. As you look towards the non-foil super rares, looking at an average of $1.91, which is also down 8%. Like I said, Iron Song Determination, make sure you're shopping around if you need that card. On eBay, it's less expensive than TCG Player. It just kind of depends on the day, really. But they're kind of all over the place on the sold listing. So keep an eye on that if you're looking for that card. Other than that, nothing else is really changing, just a little bit of decreases in some of like the dollar cards that just kind of lost another 25 cents. So average is around $2. That's down 8%. Looking at the rares and commons, just remember I just used TCG low. I just kind of copy and paste the TCG low data. I look for any outliers. So on average, we're at 83 cents, which is down 9%. And then the rares, interesting to see rares kind of flatlining while everything else, I don't know, I guess there's just a bottom for them that, like, it's just not worth selling. So that's where the rares are. Lastly, we'll go to the common rainbow foils, just to show you some of the equipment cards do have some value, $1 here and there. But the equipment cards, all the common rainbow foils sitting on an average around 50 cents. All right, let's take a look at the EV calculation. In every box, you're going to have 42 rares, 4 foil rares, 4 super rares, 1 foil super rare, 2 majestics. 1 every 4 boxes will have a foil majestic. 1 every 4 boxes will have a chance at a legendary. And then the Fable is 1 in 40. That puts your 40 box average. If you're going to open all 40 boxes, you'd be sitting at $109 on average. If you just take your 1 box then, and you don't want to include the legendary or the Fable, you'd be sitting at $63. So let's see this 109 where it compares. We are up 2% from last week, which is, it's interesting to have these huge drops and then kind of flatline and go up a little bit. So let's take a look at the top 10 cards to gain or lose value. Crazy Brew, it's 50 cents. It's not really that big of a deal, but it is up 50%. Forge for War, it's 20 cents, but it's up 50%. And Spinal Crush, that's probably the only one that's significant, moving from $7 to $9, up 28%. The non-foil gainers, Genshi Release going from 75 cents to $1, up 33%. Lord of Wind going from $6 to $7.50, that's up 23%. And Steel Blade Supremacy going from $11 to $13.50, that is 22%. Looking at the cards that lost the most value then this week, if it will go over here. We've got Route going from $5.50 to $4. That is a 27% decrease. Time Stamp Potion losing 26%. And Bonehead Barrier Rainbow Foil losing 25%. The non-foil losers, Bonehead Barrier on the list again, just 25 cents loss, but that's 50%. Sand Sketched Plan going from 40 cents to 25 cents. That's only 37%. And then Toma Fandale, the first significant one, going from 24 to 16, which is a loss of $8 or 33%. Okay, so now let's move on over to the alpha version. As we look into alpha, we'll start with the sealed product, and we'll kind of back out on some of these and show you the graphs a little better. But right now we're sitting around $5,000. Now, you can kind of take these prices however you want. I'm going to show you where I calculated these. You've got a box that sold for $4,500, for $4,800. You've got a box that sold for $5,500. An auction that ended at $53,000. Another best offer that was accepted at $5,000. One that was accepted for $5,500. So lots and lots of these moving this week. This was last week's stuff. Lots moving this week, and kind of the averaging of them would put them at around $5,000. There are some that are less. There are some that are way more. It seems like Facebook, it's kind of all over the place too, honestly. Like, depends on the seller. I know that one sold for $4,000, but it was like instantly sold. Like it wasn't even on Facebook for more than like a minute or two. So we'll call it $5,000. See what happens the next couple of weeks. That's still down 9% from last week's price. As we move forward into the next stuff, let's go ahead and look at the Fable. The Heart of Fandel, really, there's nothing. The people who own them are not selling them. Oh, I said I was gonna scoot back. Let me scoot back and show you the sealed stuff. The people who own them aren't really selling them. Let's go to Alpha first, though. The boxes. So you can see we're like getting close to this inflection point, which was at like the this inflection point. It's hard to see on the where it's lined up, but the inflection point was really back here in let's see, we had a huge increase at 3600 to 45. So this 3600 is really this inflection point, and we're currently still above that. The sealed boxes, I don't know, we'll see. This is to me like the hard rock bottom price. I think it's going to land somewhere between where we are now and there. So anyway, all right, looking at the Fable, like I said, the people who own the Fable, the Heart of Fandel, are not looking to sell right now. I think there was one on Facebook for 20 grand last week. It had some not perfections in it. And I honestly don't even know if that's sold or not. So, but from the people I'm talking to, there's, first off, if you look on eBay, like there's none of them. Like this is the only Heart of Fandel alpha on eBay. It's a 9.5. I don't even think it's a quad. We'll look, but it's 150 grand. It's not even a quad. So like, that's the only one on the public marketplace. On Facebook, there might still be one, but not. I talked to some people who weren't interested in it. Anyway, moving on. That's the Heart of Fandel. Let's go to the legendaries. There's a little bit more action on the legendaries this week. Scab Skin staying true. Tectonic Plating. No other sold listings, but a Mask Momentum did sell this week for 2,500. Looks to be in pretty good condition. This seller is selling a lot of cards. The seller has been on the market for a long while. A lot of cold foil common selling. There is a huge scratch there. So I just wanted to show that it's sold, but like this is definitely not a near mint edition card. So this will be taken out of the price point, and we'll kind of utilize. This is one we talked about at the end of last week, where it was like, is it going to sell or not? So it's going to stay the same price at 3,500. Sorry about that. But and the idea being that like a near mint card, I don't honestly know. Like I honestly don't know where this falls in this kind of near mint thing. So looking at the tunic, though, there is a tunic currently on the market that looks like it's going to end today. There are no bids on it yet. It'll be really interesting next week to take a look at this. There was a best offer that was accepted last week at $4 grand for a tunic. We'll see where an auction puts this. If it gets sniped or if it just doesn't sell, I don't know. I honestly don't have an opinion on what's going to happen. It looks to be pretty nice condition. I honestly don't have an opinion or an idea on what's going to happen. Let's see if there's more pictures of the back. I mean, the corners looks pretty good. So it'll just depend on if the whales are buying right now, I guess. So that puts your average legendary at 2,800, which is down 7%. Looking then at the cold foils, again, like that, there's a lot moving. It's a lot from the same sellers on eBay. Honestly, like I think 2 of these were from the same seller. This Goliath Gauntlet I wanted to pull up actually. Goliath Gauntlet sold for for $600, which is higher than we've been seeing the cold foil comments selling in the last couple weeks. But there was a Goliath Gauntlet that sold for 600 here. From a well-rated seller. It looks to be in really good condition, and maybe that's part of it. The pictures aren't fantastic, but like the condition looks pretty dang good on it. And Goliath Gauntlet's usually one of those ones that historically is kind of higher than the rest. We had Goliath Gauntlets selling for $850 and $750 back at the peak, which was pretty high. I mean, even at the time, higher than Snapdragon Scalers. So it'll be interesting to see if that price holds, or if we start seeing there's none on the market for less than that price right now. So it'll be interesting to see if that price holds. There was also Snapdragon Scalers that sold for $450. So it's interesting to see these 2 cards kind of fighting for top dog slot. I think Snapdragon Scalers historically has been people's predicted highest value cold foil common, but interesting to see that. Iron Rot, only the helm sold this week for $185. That puts your average. This Goliath Gauntlet's really helping at $600, down 3%. Now, I will say that like uh there's a lot of, there was a bark bone strapping. I think 3 of them sold. There was one that sold for 150, and then 300 and 300, or 300 and 350. There's a lot of different price points for these, so make sure you're looking at condition on any sold listings and making sure that like they aren't like chipped or whatever. But then also, if you are selling, I would honestly take the average of the cold foil commons, and that's what I would try to sell for. Now, maybe these like Goliath gauntlets or Snapdragon scalers you want to do that for, but kind of the regular ones, maybe start with an average rather than just taking the most recent sale, because honestly, it's like more or less like there's only so many on the market. So anyway, that's how I would do it. I've been saying that since the beginning, but all in all, you're down to 350. Let's pop this back and take a look at the graph and see kind of where we're fitting. It looks like we haven't quite reached that kind of inflection point. Now, I don't know that we'll ever kind of go all the way down. Again, I think this is the hard bottom. But if we, if the market's not there, if the market's there, it's not going to go all the way down here. And honestly, we're starting to trail off a little bit. So I'm not sure that we're going to hit this rock bottom, but I think somewhere between this 350 and 250 is where we'll end up landing. Probably, if I had to give my straight opinion, it would be probably the higher side of this 350 market. But I also have cold foil commons. I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to misguide anybody. I have really no intentions of selling them. So, all right, moving forward, let's go to the majestic rainbow foils. There was a steel blade supremacy that sold for 200. Other than that, nothing really happened. So it's down 3% for an average of 847. Regular majestics, lots of movement. There was a Toma Fiendel that sold on eBay. There's also one that sold on TCG Player. They were very polar opposites. I think the Tome was like 210 on TCG Player and like 75 on eBay. So I kind of just split the gap at 170. Enlightened Strike sold for 375 on TCG Player. So you're starting to see a lot of these be picked up, mostly on TCG Player, honestly. And that puts the average up 13% to $100, which is kind of getting back towards where we were headed way back when the average was more like 111, 115. So interesting to see a lot of those selling on TCG Player this week. Moving to the super rares. Let's go on, and really no change in the rainbow foils. Again, they're just so limited. People who have them aren't selling right now. The market right now, the people who are selling is small. Like the same seller, if you look up sold listings, you'll start seeing the same seller popping up a lot on eBay, and that's telling to me that like no one's really panicking. Anyway, moving on. Average non-foil super rare is sitting on at 1610. No huge changes. Remembrance lost all the way down to 34. Reckless Swing at 23 is up a little bit. Pounding Gale is up a little bit at 24. All in all, you're at a loss of 13%. And at 16, we are getting, we hit a peak at like 20. These didn't spike as hard as the other ones, and so I don't think they'll drop as, their bottom will be different too. Looking at the rare rainbow foils then, we are actually up 1% on TCG Low to an average of $37. Looking at the non-foil rares on TCG Low, we're at an average of $2.76, which is down 2%. And then looking at the common rainbow foils, we are there's a lot more of those than I thought. We are actually up 4% after last week. We had a huge dip. We're up 4% for an average of $9.68. Okay, let's take a look at this EV calculation. So you guys know it's going to be in a box. So this puts your 40 box average, including the commons, at $2,772. How many times am I do that? But if you take out the commons, you're really this includes the foil commons, but not the non-foil commons. You're really sitting at $2,609 and 69 cents. And then if you just take the one box average, so you don't want to include the Fable or the legendaries, you're really sitting at around $1,400. Let's take a look at where this looks at 2609 compared to last week. We are going to be just down this week. Just down this week at down 1% from 2649 last week. All right, let's take a look at the top 10 cards to gain or lose value. Goliath Gauntlet, really the only card gaining a ton of value this week. Up 100% from 300 to 600, which is pretty great if if you're looking at Goliath Gauntlets. The non-foil gainers, a lot of the non-foil stuff did move this week. Bonehead Barrier up 60%, Crippling Crush up 42%, and Toma Fiendel up 30%. The losers for the foil, Steelblade Supremacy losing 52%, Iron Rot Helm losing 38%, Snapdragon Scalers losing 33%. Then the non-foil losers, Remembrance losing 24%, Sand Sketch Plans losing 17%, and Steelblade Supremacy losing 11%. So that's it. That's your WTR market update. I hope that you guys enjoy these things, and I hope that the information is helpful to you. If you want access to the collection tracker that uses all this data, head on over to patreon.com/KitchenTableTCG, where you can support the channel and get access to that. You also get access to box breaks and case breaks, and I just did a MetaZoo deal that you missed out on now, but it's a great place to be, a Discord server to hang out. We do armor events on Thursday nights and Sunday nights, and we do we're doing a classic constructed league that just started too. So hope you guys have a great day. Remember to be kind to the people around you, and we'll see you tomorrow for another video.